good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear friends. It's me, Kit Bowman. You definitely might recognise me from the previous videos. As you may know, I'm a small video creator. And thank you so much for joining me on this brand new video. We are excited for a nostalgic book reading series. It's also known as Read Aloud Stories. I will do another reading out for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it soon, since I have read many book titles, including children's books, which can bring back our childhood memories. So first of all, I'll go show a book I'll go read to you, as you're quite familiar with, Dr Seuss. So, therefore, I have got Dr Seuss Horton Here's the Who. It seems like a very interesting book. It's also entertaining, will fascinate young readers of the new generations. Ladies and gentlemen, would you care to join me for story time? Fantastic! You finally come to the right place. So, shall I begin the story? When I read this book by words for each page and show some illustrated pictures. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Nu, in the heat of the day, in the cool of a pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys. Then Horton, the elephant, heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked towards the sound. That's funny, thought Horton. There's no one around. Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. I'll help you, said Horton. But who are you? Where? He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. I say, murmured Horton, I've never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So, you know what I think. Why I think that there must be someone on the top of a small speck of dust. Some sort of a creature of a very small size, too small to be seen by the elephant's eyes. Some poor little people who's shaking with fear that he'll blow in the pool. He has no way to stir. I'll just have to save him, because after all, a person, no matter how small. So gently and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his great trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. Huff, huffed the voice. 'Twas a sour kangaroo, and a young kangaroo in her pouch, said Huff. 2. Why? The speck is as small as the head of a pin. The person of that, why there nothing has been. Believe me, said Horton, I tell you sincerely. My ears are quite keen, and I heard him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's 2, even 3, even 4, quite likely. And a family, for all that we know, a family with children just starting to grow. So please, Horton said, as a favour to me, try not to disturb them. Just let them be. I think we're full, laughed the sour kangaroo. And then a young kangaroo in her pouch said, me too. You're the biggest blame fool in the jungle of Nu. And the kangaroos plunged in the cool of the pool. What a terrible splashing, the elephant groaned. I can't let my very small persons get drowned. I've got to protect them. I'm bigger than they. so plucked up the cloth and hustled away. Through the high jungle tree tops, the news quite quickly spread. He talks to the dust speck, he's out of his head. Just look at him, walk with that speck on that flower. And Horton walks worrying almost an hour. Should I put this speck down? Horton thought with alarm. If I do, the small person might came to the great harm, and I can't put it down, and I won't after all. A person, no matter how small. Then Horton stopped walking. The speak's voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it. Speak up, please, said Horton. He put his ears near it. My friend, come a voice, you are a very fine friend. You've helped all of us folks under this does speak no end. You saved us all the houses, our ceilings and floors. You saved all of our churches and grocery stores. You mean? Horton gasped. You have buildings there too? Oh yes, piped the voice. We most certainly do. I know the voice. I'm too small to be seen, but the mayor of a town that is friendly and clean. Our buildings to you would seem terribly small, but to us, who aren't big, they are wonderfully tall. My town is called Whoville, for I am a who, and we use are all thankful and grateful to you. And Horton called back to the mayor of the town. You're safe now, don't worry, I won't let you down. But just as he spoke to the mayor of a speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wreckersham brothers came shouting, What? This elephant's talking to who are not. They aren't any who's, and they don't have a mayor. And we're going to stop all this nonsense, so there. They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to the black-bottomed eagle named Vladikoff, a mighty strange eagle of very swift wing. And they said, will you kindly get rid of this thing? And before the poor elephant even could speak, that eagle flew off with a flower in his beak. All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton chased after with ground over stones and that tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, please don't harm them all, my little fools, who have as much as right to live as bigger folks do. But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flapping, and all of his shoulders called big pack. Quite your yapping. I'll fly the night through. I'm a bird. I don't mind it. And I'll hide this tomorrow. Where will you never find it? And at 6:56 the next morning, he did it. It sure was a terrible place that he had hid it. He let that small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of clovers 100 miles wide. Find that, snapped the bird, but I think you will fail. And he left with a flip of his black-bottomed tail. I found it, cried Horton. I find it or burst. I shall find my friends on my small speck of dust, and clover by clover by clover of cow. He picked her up and searched them and called, "Are you there?" But clover by clover by clover he found. Then that the one that he sought of for was just not around. And by noon, poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched, pulled up 9,005. Then on through the afternoon, hour after an hour, till he found them at last, on the 3 millionth flower. "My friends," cried the elephant, "tell me, do tell, are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?" From down the speck came the voice of a bear. "We have really had trouble, much more than our share, when that black-bottomed birdie let go and we dropped. We landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped, our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs smashed, and our bicycle tires are all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please," pleaded that voice of a mare's, "will you stick by us, who's while we're making repairs?" "Of course," Horton answered. "Of course I will stick. I'll stick by your small folks through the thin and through thick." "Humph," humphed the voice. "For almost 2 days you've run wild and insisted on chatting with persons who have never existed. Such carries on in our peaceable jungle. We have had quite enough of your bowing bungle, and I'm here to state," snapped a big kangaroo, "that your silly nonsensical game is all through." And a young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too." With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham in-laws, whose help I've engaged, you're going to be roped, and you are going to be caged. And as for your dust speck, that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of basil nut oil. Boil it," gasped Horton. "Oh, that you can't do. It's full of persons. Well, I'll prove it to you." Mr. Bear," Horton called. "Mr. Bear, you've got to prove now that you really are there. So, call a big meeting, get everyone out. Make every who holler. Make every who shout. Make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in a basil nut stew." And down on the dust speck, the scared little mare quite called a big meeting in a whole-filled town square. And these people cried loudly. They cried out in fear, "We're here, we are here, we are here, we are here, we are here." The elephant smiled. That was as clear as a bell. "Your kangaroos surely heard that very well." "All I heard," snapped a big kangaroo, "was the breeze, and the faint voice of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voice, and you didn't either." And a young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me either." "Grab him," they shouted, "and cage a big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of ropes. Tie the knots tight so he'll never shake loose. Then drunk that dump, speak in the butternut juice. Horton fought back with a great figure and fame, but the Whiskersham game was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him into his cage, but he managed to call to the mayor, "Don't give up, I believe in you all. A person, no matter how small, and your very small person will not have to die if you make yourself heard. So come on now and try." A mayor grabbed a tom-tom. He started to smack it, and all over Whoville. They warped up the racket. They rattled tin kettles. They beat on the brass pans, on garbage pail tops, and old cranberry cans. They blew on bazookas and blasted great toots on clarinets, uppers and bumpers and flutes. Great guts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called up through the howling and mad hullabaloo, "Hey Horton, how's this? Is our sound coming through?" Horton called back, "I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as strong quite as mine. They don't hear the thing. Are you sure about all you boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in the Whoville is working? Quick, look through your town. Is there anyone chuckling?" Through the town rushed the mayor from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seems to be yapping or yipping. Everyone seems to be beeping and bipping, but it wasn't enough. All this ruckus and war, he had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building. He searched floor to floor. And just as he felt he was getting nowhere, and almost about to give up in his despair, he suddenly burst through the door, and that mayor discovered one shirker quite hidden away. In the fast facts department's apartment 12J, a very small shirker named Jojo was just standing and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound, not a yip, not a chirp, and the mayor rushed inside and he grabbed a young twap and he climbed with a lad up of a book tower. "This," cried the mayor, "is your town's darkest hour. This the time for all. Who's a who have blood that is red, to come to the aid of the country." He said, "We've got to make noises in great amounts. So open your mouth, lad, for our very voice counts." Thus he spoke, as he climbed. When he got to the top, the lad cleared his throat, and he shouted, "Yelp!" And that yelp, that one small extra yelp, put it over. Finally, at last, from that speck of that clover, their voices were heard. They ran out clear and clean, and the elephant smiled. "Do you see what I mean? They prove they are real persons, no matter how small, and the whole world was saved by the smallest of all." "How true, yes, how true," said the big kangaroo, "and from now on, you know what I'm planning to do. From now on, I'm going to protect them with you." A young kangaroo in the pouch said, "Me too. From a sun in the summer, from a rain when it's felt foolish, I'm going to protect them no matter how smallish." So, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude this story of such amazing and most nostalgic children's classic American, Dr. Seuss, Horton Hears the Who. I hope you all guys find this story very interesting, which again brings back some of the memories from our childhoods, back in the early days, for the newer generations to come. So, if you enjoyed this video, please write your comments down below to let me know with your thoughts in the comments. Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video of the story about Horton Hears the Who. So thank you for stopping by.